So, question number two, Don. What is exactly connection between Jazz Heritage Foundation and Jazz Fest? I know a lot of people, even in New Orleans, confused about it. And I also talk more about like nuts and bolts of the festival, the music business in New Orleans itself.
Sure. No, the foundation, the Jazz and Heritage Foundation, actually, as I mentioned, is a nonprofit organization. And what that means really in the United States is that organizations that are nonprofit are allowed to make money, but the money needs to be put back into the community and everything. So we fund a lot of community programs, some of which I explained earlier. But we are the owners of the Jazz Festival, and we actually contract with the production company, Festival Productions Incorporated of New Orleans, which over its 40-year history has done numerous festivals, primarily jazz festivals around the world, but blues festivals and other kinds of festivals. They have an amazing reputation. They had been the producer for the Newport Jazz and Newport Folk Festival for many years. But that is a for-profit company, which employs thousands of people. We have some people who work year-round, but then about 4 or 5 months before the festival itself, we started bringing in hundreds of different types of workers to deal with particular issues. So it's an amazing operation. When Jazz Fest is in operation, it's almost like a giant city with all the problems of a city. We have security and police issues, we have trash issues, we have construction crews that have to build all the stages. We have a whole food department that deals with the 100 booths, over 100 booths of food vendors and stuff. So there are all kind of issues, just like a city, that have to be dealt with by the for-profit company, Festival Productions, which is now in partnership with a company called AEG Live out of Denver, Colorado. And they are actually responsible for producing the festival. And one of the ways that you can really fund a festival of the size of Jazz Fest, the revenue comes in from different streams. One of the most important that we've been very successful in is actually getting corporate sponsorship. And corporate sponsorship allows us to keep the admission price down to Jazz Fest. We have been very fortunate over the years to have developed a good corporate base of sponsorship, but particularly after Katrina, with so much attention on New Orleans and helping to rebuild the community, a lot of our major corporations in the United States have come to our aid. We've added Shell Oil Company as our title sponsor, or presenting sponsor. Over the years, the Honda Motor Corporation, through its Acura division, has been a major sponsor and sponsors our Acura stage. We have different health companies, different insurance companies, different types of companies that are looking for the recognition for being branded with such a successful event. We generally have over 450,000 people paying attendance to come to the festival over its 7 days. So the product identity with Jazz Fest is very valuable. In addition to that, we do have revenue coming in from the individual ticket sales, and then with our different vendors, the food vendors, our artisans and craftspeople, products that we actually develop generates revenue that actually comes in. We have a total budget of approximately $16 million to produce the festival. And that allows us also to bring in some of the major talent, international talent as well as national and local talent, so that when you look at the schedule of performers at Jazz Fest, it's pretty overwhelming of the diversity in the different art forms, whether it's blues or jazz or pop. And we look at attracting, certainly the finest quality musician, and often we're able to work with musicians who are at the peak of their careers, and brings a great deal of national attention, and people are encouraged to buy tickets for that. So that's been one of the things that has helped us economically. And really since Katrina, it was a very devastating event that happened to the city, and we are still recovering in many areas. But because of the determination of people in New Orleans and Louisiana, so much has been rebuilt. And it was an amazing event. Katrina happened in August, and our jazz festival takes place in April. So we were fortunate enough to be able to sort of rebuild the infrastructure of our location, find our staff, get them to move back, some staying in hotels, and produce an amazing jazz fest right after Katrina, which I think spiritually had a great impact on the people of New Orleans, and letting the world know that, you know, the great culture and music of New Orleans was alive and would continue. So since Katrina, we really have shifted a lot of our community programs, our public programs, to help with the rebuilding of New Orleans.
Thank you, Don.